ever stop and think about the one single process that connects every single living thing on this planet? I mean, from the tiniest microbe to the biggest blue whale, it all boils down to one fundamental drive, just keeping the whole show going. Today, we're diving into the engine that powers all of life, reproduction. Yep, that's it. It doesn't matter if you're a person, a plant, or a platypus. Your story, and the story of your entire species, it all starts right here. This is the process that makes sure there's always a next chapter. So how does life, make more life? Turns out nature has come up with two very different but equally brilliant game plans. And the first big question is, do you need a partner, or can you just go it alone? Okay, let's break this down. On one side, you've got asexual reproduction. Think of it as a solo act. One parent, no specialized cells needed, and the kids are basically perfect clones, like hidden copy-paste. Then you have sexual reproduction. This one takes two parents, and it involves fusing their specialized reproductive cells, which we call gametes, sperm and egg. The result? A totally new, genetically unique individual. This is a huge deal, because that variation is the raw material for evolution. It's the difference between dealing the same hand of cards over and over and shuffling the deck every single time. To see that solo act in action, take a look at budding. It's super common in simple animals like the hydra. A little part of the parent's body literally just starts growing into a mini-me, a little outgrowth or a bud. And eventually, that bud just pops off and boom, a brand new identical hydra is just there, floating away. And here's another wild one, fragmentation. Imagine an organism like the alga Spirogyra, just breaking into a bunch of pieces. Well, each and every one of those pieces has the incredible ability to regenerate and grow into a whole new organism. Seriously, it's like having a superpower for survival. All right, so now let's switch gears and focus on the strategy we're probably all a bit more familiar with, the one that created every single one of us. We're going to look at the incredibly specialized blueprint for sexual reproduction in humans. You know, unlike a lot of animals that have very specific breeding seasons, think about sheep or deer, we humans are what are called continuous breeders. And that just means we have the biological ability to reproduce all year round. We're not tied to the calendar in the same way. So, what's in the human reproductive toolkit? Well, you can break it down into a few main parts. First up, you've got the primary sex organs, the testis in males and the ovary in females. These are the factories, right? They produce the gametes. Then you have the secondary organs, which are all the ducts and glands that help move and support those cells. And finally, you have the secondary sexual characters. These are the external features that pop up during puberty that help distinguish the sexes, like a beard on a guy or a woman's broader pelvis. Okay, so we've seen the hardware, the organs, and all the plumbing, but now let's zoom way in, down to the microscopic level. How are the actual building blocks of a new life, the sperm and the egg, actually made? This incredibly intricate manufacturing process is known as gametogenesis. When it comes to making sperm, a process called spermatogenesis, it all starts with multiplication. Special cells in the testes just divide over and over and over again, creating this huge army of precursor cells. Then, those cells enter a growth phase, where they basically just bulk up, storing nutrients for the intense journey ahead. It's a non-stop production line on an absolutely massive scale. And now, let's look at the other side of the story. What you're seeing here is a cross-section of an ovary, and each of those little circles is an ovarian follicle, a tiny little pod that holds a developing egg. But what's truly mind-blowing about this whole process isn't just what you see here, it's when it all got started. Now get this, the process of making eggs, or ovogenesis, begins long before a female is even born. At just 12 weeks old, a female fetus already has ovaries that contain over 2 million potential egg cells. That's her lifetime supply, all set up from the very beginning. It's a remarkable biological investment in the future, just waiting for the right time, maybe decades later. So, we've got the building blocks. The sperm and the egg are ready. Now, it is time for the main event. This is the moment all that preparation was for. It's a journey against unbelievable odds. A race that starts with millions, but only has one winner. Just take a second and let that number sink in. 200 to 400 million. That is the staggering number of competitors that start this race. It's an absolutely astronomical figure, and it really puts the scale of this microscopic journey into perspective. So how do you get from hundreds of millions down to just one? It's basically a 3-step obstacle course. First, insemination. Then, the sperm that make it through go through something called capacitation. It's like a 5 to 6 hour power-up sequence, a final training montage to get them ready. And finally, way up in the fallopian tube, one single champion sperm manages to fuse with the egg. That one moment, that's fertilization. And that single event is everything. It restores the complete set of chromosomes, giving the new individual its full genetic blueprint. It kicks off the final maturation of the egg, and it even delivers the crucial gear needed for the very first cell division. But maybe most importantly, by combining genes from two different parents, it creates the genetic variation that fuels evolution itself. Oh, and it also determines the biological sex of the new person. So, no big deal. And that's where we'll end it. The very strategy that created every one of us is built on the idea of mixing things up, of creating something new and unique with every single generation. It's a powerful lesson from biology that being different isn't just interesting, it's absolutely essential. So what does that tell you about the importance of being different?